welcome. Time to start talking about turkeys.
Finally.
No doubt.
We do have a major announcement to make.
What's that?
What is it?
You know what it is?
What is
You
it?
should
Youth
know what
Day?
it is. No.
Tell
If
us
you're
what
an
it is,
NWTF member
Oh
and
my goodness.
and you get a
We'll-
quarterly issue of Turkey Call
We'll-
magazine, flip over to page 85. Is it 85?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think.
And you'll find our very own Zach Clifton holding his Tom of the Year last year. It's a great picture.
No one was as shocked as I.
A great little write-up. I was also shocked, and I was also extremely excited.
Dang.
To find it.
I appreciate that. I didn't know where you were going, but then I remembered you said that. So
Shoot, look at you, buddy.
that,
We've officially hit the big time.
You know,
Hey,
my daggone Jake didn't make it from last year.
ain't nothing wrong with a Jake. Oh, so Youth Weekend is a little under a month away. Got a 410 coming for Hadley. She doesn't know about it yet, but it'll be here tomorrow. And
Hopefully she doesn't listen to this podcast before tomorrow.
yeah, she'll get it tomorrow night. Well, she'll probably get it Sunday morning. So,
Yeah.
but I debated quite a bit on what kind of ammo to get her,
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't about to spend $50 for 5 shots when she's probably not even going to be comfortable shooting outside of 25 yards. So,
Probably, yeah. I don't know. She smoked a deer at 100 yards.
that is true. I don't like getting them in close anyway. But that being said, I went with the double X. I will watch some videos.
That's a good choice.
At
Yeah.
25 yards, it's all she needs. Now I'm probably gonna get some TSS for myself to help with.
So what I would say about the TSS, if you're talking about for the 410, the TSS, from what I read on it when I bought mine, was if you're not going to change the stock choke in it,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't waste my time with the TSS.
I probably will. I'll probably put a choke tube in it.
Yeah.
See what they got. One of them jibs or
Yeah,
I'm sure Carlson's makes ones too.
I'm sure they do. Probably. I've never looked, but
It's gonna take a lot for me to put down the old 835.
I bet you one day packing that 410 and you'll be like, I'll never
Yeah.
carry an 835 again.
That's the truth.
Probably right. I don't know.
And I mean, this coming from a guy that's packing an 835 myself.
Hey,
like,
I have an 835
I'm about-
and I'll carry my 410.
I am,
Yeah.
I am about to do a slick paint job on that thing if I decide to. I'm gonna order. You can get a Bottomland stencil kit
oh yeah, I didn't even know that.
that tells you what paint colors to use and everything. So,
Huh.
I may end up doing it.
It'd be a lot cheaper than getting it dipped,
It's
also.
like
You know.
$30.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that dips them without sending them off.
Yeah, you gotta ship it now.
Yeah, I'd like to though.
There's a place up around Lexington, and I'm sure that you could probably call
Yeah,
and like be like, you know, what day can I bring it down and you all dip it and stuff.
Kentucky or Virginia.
Kentucky. But you could probably like take it and drop it off one weekend and go back the next and pick it
Well,
up.
I got a family member that goes up there all the time,
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
so that might be something to think about.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I decided to go with that for her, and we're going to shoot it Sunday and see how it does and how she likes it. And I think it is the first Saturday and Sunday in April. I'm off that weekend, so
That's awesome.
we're gonna stay hard at it. I think
What would that be? First and second, I think is what it is.
Yep. And we're gonna hit it hard, and hopefully we can get one.
Oh, she'll bust her big one.
That'd be awesome, man.
She'll at least get a shot. I'll say it that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what old Zach's got going on over his farm. May end up there's a bunch of turkeys out there too. May go put some decoys out in that blind back up.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier, I'm sure, for her it'd be a lot easier that
Oh
way.
yeah, especially the first time too. You know, and she's already been there and done that kind of in the blind, and so she kind of knows a little bit what to expect. You don't have to.
She'll get a buy this year. Next year she's hitting the mountains.
Behind you,
I'll pay.
or
I'll throw her on my back.
He'll get one of them. What's the thing that goes on the Exos? The
crib panel.
Yeah, the crib. He'll get the crib panel and load her in the back of that Exo and pack her around.
Yeah. No, she'll do good, I think. But so So we're gonna try that out Sunday, and
If she couldn't go in the mountains, it wouldn't be for lack of energy. I promise you that.
That's true.
yeah, that no doubt. So a couple people messaged us on Instagram or commented on a few things about wanting to talk about turkey strategy. Excuse me, and call type, locating turkeys, and all that sort of thing. So figured no better time than now just to jump right in and deep end on it. And I would say right now, if you're looking for turkeys before season, just look for some scratching and feed sign. You know, you pretty much know. I know right now where a whole bunch is staying.
Yeah.
But historically, areas in the spring historically will always have a turkey in there.
Generally,
Yeah.
there's food there.
That's the saying. You know, I know me and Dean have killed a turkey out of the same 30-yard by 30-yard spot.
Yeah.
About 8 or 9 years. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty set in stone. If you go in there, usually you're gonna get one. But there's a lot of food in there for them. So
Well, that's the same way with the place I hunt.
yeah.
I've yet to go in there and not at least get a shot at one.
Yeah.
Last year, my buddy missed one, and we kind of, missed that. But they tend to stay somewhere around in there.
I like that place where we've been going.
Yeah.
Usually there's one in there.
Yeah.
I was hoping we'd get Tyler on one last year, and had the weather been a little better, we might have. But
Yeah.
they like it in there for some reason.
I hadn't been up there a lot. I planned on going up this weekend and getting my camera batteried and clearing some brush and stuff out. But they were there this fall. I'm sure they'll be there spring. Yeah. It's just a going and seeing kind of thing. The people I have talked to this spring at work and around town and stuff have mentioned that they're seeing a lot more turkey.
Yeah.
I told you about my preacher last weekend. He said there's 12 big toms strutting in his front yard that morning. So, or not strutting, but they're feeding and stuff. Yeah. But I think apparently we had a much better hatch than what I thought. Because I thought we had a pretty low hatch numbers.
Yeah.
The last 2 years, really. Because I didn't see a lot of poults on camera. I didn't see a lot of poults out in the fields and stuff. But
I seen a bunch this summer.
Yeah.
Specifically, one spot about every evening, I'd see 2 hens and about a dozen poults walking around. So
yeah.
I'd say they probably adopted some of them. Something happened to one. I don't think they'll usually have that many live apiece.
No, I think what's this? 3 is a good number.
3 is a good number.
Is that what the NWTF says? Yeah.
That Dr. Chamberlain.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So it is. I'm really excited about it. Get into just finding them, hunting strategy. After you've got your spot picked out, is I guess locating. So we all have different types of opinions on locating calls. I prefer the Jake breaks of an 18-wheeler.
Those work.
So we watched but in all seriousness, probably the best thing going right now is the owl hooter. I mean, that's just learn how to use it and try your best to sound like an actual owl, or you can mess them things up and sound pretty wild if you really do. But
while we're on the owl hooters, and I think we planned on talking about this, but while we're talking about owl hooting, Clay Newcomb had an interesting podcast about owl hooting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you have listened to it, but it's really good, and you should go listen to it if you haven't. But he equates the quality of your voice-only owl hoot to your both woodsmanship and turkey hunting ability. And I would have to agree.
Yeah.
That I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. I've never met a good turkey hunter who doesn't have a good owl hoot.
Let's hear it.
Well, I'm afraid I'll blow the speaker out, and I wouldn't consider myself a good turkey hunter, but I can hoot just a little bit with my mouth.
You can get it. You just gotta try it.
I'd say I practiced more on owl hooting with my mouth and my diaphragm than I ever did actually using a call, like calling a turkey in.
Right.
And I was more, I guess my personal thing about that was my cousin done calling competitions for years, and he is really good.
Yeah.
So I was just amazed at how awesome his owl hooter was, you know, compared to what I would come up with. So
Right.
I practiced at that, and that's one thing that I would have to pride myself in.
How long did we sit there that day and watch the owl hooting at the end of the TF?
Hour and a half.
It was forever. And I found it awfully interesting. A lot of those guys, they would be sponsored by, say, Woodhaven, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they would have, it didn't look like what me and you could buy from Woodhaven, and they had it black taped, so you couldn't tell what it was, or if it had logos on it or whatever. So they had it wrapped in black tape. But man, I'm telling you, they could make them sing.
They did sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting to watch those guys. About every one of them ran a peacock call too.
Yeah, a lot of them did. My personal favorite was the guy in the skin tight jeans and pit vipers.
He rocked it.
He walked out on stage. I was like, holy moly, what the? And he videoed, so he walks out on stage. He sets his phone up right on the stage, and then he gets into his calling sequence. And I found it kind of interesting. I thought, that guy must have an Instagram.
Was he pretty good?
He wasn't bad,
It wasn't too bad. His
from somewhere in North Carolina, I think.
To be someone gobbling with the old school way to gobble with a mouth call outside your mouth.
Yeah.
He did sound pretty decent with that. His owl hoot was.
I mean, it wasn't on the same class as some of the really, really good ones there, because them dudes were in a whole other stratosphere of most people.
The guy with the bear grease hat on wore it out.
Yeah, he was good.
My buddy from Florida. If I can get him to come hunt with us this year, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That dude's legit.
Huh.
My cousin, like I said, done it for a long time. He called against, this was mouth calling and stuff, not using Slate or nothing like that, but he called against the guy that owns Cane Creek. I can't remember his name.
Doug,
yeah.
Adkins.
They used to call against each other in actual turkey calling competitions.
Yeah.
My cousin, when our buddy from Florida was calling, he was like, man, I'm telling you, he was like, that's pretty legit.
I like to hear old Comer in real life.
He's pretty good on Facebook.
Yeah. I like to hear him in real life.
I like some of I think they call them pips, and like a pip and roll type of sequence. He does a really good one of those.
Yeah.
Which I've kind of been working on myself, because it's just like a little feeding call. I noticed what's the pinhoti guy? No, that's a cluck and purr.
Yeah.
This was just a popping out, woo, like a little whistle.
Okay, yeah.
But the Pinhoti project guy, what's his name?
I know.
He does that a lot. It's almost like a calming noise, like a feeding. And he'll scratch on the leaves and make that little pip sound, and it's something I just like to add to my repertoire.
That's what we're gonna.
Huh? Your words. I love them. These are big words.
We're gonna talk about that too. I actually had that wrote down about different types of calls and the patterns. So I did have that on here as being a good owl hooter. Mean you're a good turkey hunter.
Yeah, I seen it on there, but while we were on the locator with an owl hooter.
If Dean's blowing in a Primos hooter tooter, then he's okay. But
yeah.
Other than that, I ain't gonna give him nothing for that. But
poor guy. I got a cousin, Pete, Brody's uncle. He is an excellent mouth hooter.
Really?
Yes, he's really good at. But he just sits out there. He's got all those turkeys out there on the farm, and he just fools with them a lot. He'll at the evening time he'll go up the back of the barn and just hoot off in there, and they'll gobble. That whole holler will gobble.
I'll tell you, if that's something that you ever want to work on, really, you got to work on getting that deep in the diaphragm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Coming out. And if you'll notice, a lot of times, if you listen to an owl actually hoot, at the end of it, they'll kind of, it's real raspy, kind of like, I don't know how to, it's kind of like a purr towards the end of it. Most people can't project that into their actual mouth.
Yeah.
But that's like my cousin, that's why I was just totally amazed by his, because he can actually get that
like in
roll,
sequence.
To the very end. It's just like,
I can make the roll sound, but I can't get the sequence quite right.
That's why they make calls for us.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying even with the call, it's like I can easily make that roll sound, but the sequence of it kind of.
Oh yeah.
There's always like this little hesitation in there as I'm getting my mouth ready, but
it's a good thing we're not calling in owls.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, I don't know. I've been pretty successful calling those in too.
Yeah.
God almighty.
You mentioned something there about the calming, and that brings up a good point, and a lot of people miss this, is with the pop, what'd you call it, pop and roll?
Like a pip and roll or pippins,
we all have
whatever they call it. I don't really know exactly what they call it. I think it's called a pip. I'm not sure.
When you said a feed, I always refer to that as like a feeding or like a feeding or a searching call.
Yeah. Well, it's not very loud. It's really, really low.
It's a calming.
Yeah.
Yeah. By searching, I don't mean searching for turkeys. I mean like search just.
Okay. Yeah. Like content.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
But if you they always have a pattern with them. And if you ever listen to a turkey scratching the leaves, it's always a pattern.
Right.
It's always. And if you watch them, you can go back and watch on videos, and it's the same thing. If hens are in there feeding, they're all feeding in a certain pattern. And that brings up this about calling is. Which one of y'all said that if you're batting 1,000?
That's me.
Okay.
I can read that quote real quick if you'd want me to.
Go ahead.
So I've been reading a book, the one by
Spring Legion.
Spring Legion, sorry. I've read so much lately, I get confused. So it starts out and it says my bad. It says most times a tree yelp or two is all that's needed to talk the gobbler over to you, until his feet hit the ground at least. If he has answered your soft yelps twice from the limb, remember that a batter who is batting 1,000 does not increase his batting average with more at bats. It can only go down. I think that's a awesome quote.
There's some wise words.
It is,
for sure.
Because you think about it. You call to a gobbler, and you can tell he's coming to you.
Yeah.
Why keep calling?
Yeah.
All you're going to do is let him pinpoint your exact location. And then he's going to be looking right there as he comes in.
Yeah.
So if he's coming, let him come.
That's where people get hung up on being a turkey caller versus a turkey hunter.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're a turkey hunter. You're not a turkey caller.
And I think sometimes we get impatient. I know I do anyways. But
yeah.
I have learned over the years to kind of, especially on the limb, like the bird I killed up in the morning 3 years ago, I think now, he gobbled on his own first, right?
That's perfect.
And so I started down that ridge, and I got to a spot that I liked, and I knew he was probably within 150-ish yards, maybe a little closer, but he was kind of around the end of a point. And so I stood there, and I waited for him to gobble again. And I thought, okay, he's probably 75 yards. So I sat down, and I gave it a minute, and then I just did like some real soft tree yelps, just yip, yip, yip. And then he cut me off almost. I never made another sound. He come right in. I heard him fly down, and he came right to me. I never had to make another call at all.
That's like the one 2 years ago I killed. Desiree was with me. We went in, and there's a certain point I always go to, and I'll sit there for a minute, and if it starts breaking daylight and I haven't heard anything, I'll owl hoot.
Yeah.
So we went to that point, I sat there and it was quiet, so I owl hooted. I heard him and I could pretty much tell about where he was. So we took off that way, and there was two ways I could go, a lower road or an upper road. And so when I got there, I owl hooted again. I heard him, so I went up to the top, and I didn't even put a mouth call in my mouth until I had my setup.
Yeah.
Because I knew where he was.
Right.
And I knew at most I was 200 yards from him.
Right.
So we done our setup. I threw a mouth call in, and it got quiet. And then he hit again before he ever flew down, still trying to locate what was going on.
Yep.
And I gave him a few yelps, just real soft. He hit the ground, he shut up, and then he walked straight up right in front of me. And, I mean, I probably yelped 3 times, and owl hooted 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And that was a good size older bird that I killed 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it don't take a whole lot.
Some mornings.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, yeah, it is good when you get that. When you get that turkey that you can get in there on and make a couple calls,
right.
just to let him know where you're at, and then just not call anymore. But when you are, let's just for this example say that turkey's already with hens. If he's roosted in amongst hens, the chances are you're not going to call him away from them hens.
Very, very rare.
Two things you can do is you can work on making the hens mad, making them want to come to you, trying to call the hens in, or just hang out where you're at, which is in most cases what you have to do.
Yeah.
Because inevitably he will come back around at some point when he leaves those other hens. It may take all morning.
Yeah.
And, me and Dean were talking about this the other day, how many times me and him sat against the same tree for 2.5, 3 hours on a turkey, and then at about 10:30, 11 o'clock, he circles back around and gobbles, and you kill him.
Right.
The thing with that is when you are calling and a turkey is responding to you, it's very important that you don't sound not like So going back to pattern. The same is true with a turkey yelping. If that turkey gobbles and your first series of yelps were, just soft yelps, and your second set of yelps is
screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, if I'm a hunter and I hear that, I'm saying I can't go down there because somebody's turkey hunting.
Right.
Then he knows that, and the turkey knows that too.
Yeah.
So your calls have to be consistent. Not saying that you can't excited call some.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to.
Well, there's time and place for all of it.
And in the same series, it's not the same. You don't start out You
Right.
know what I mean? You don't want to do that. Make sure you're sounding consistent, same pattern. One thing I do, like, so that scenario we just mentioned, turkeys, gobblers with hens. He flies down, he quits gobbling, so he's either strutting or he's with hens. Every 15 minutes, I'll just series of soft yelps, play around in the leaves a little bit.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. The worst thing you can do at that point in time, just say you're within 200 yards of this turkey, is get up and start moving around.
Right.
One, they can hear, so they're going to notice your footsteps are not turkey scratching.
Yeah.
It's going to draw their attention to probably some movement. And two is if he's not gobbling, you don't know that he ain't walking in.
That's true.
And I don't know how many times have been busted by saying, let's get up and go get some breakfast and stand up, and he's standing up the road just strutting.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is, your pattern with your calls and your patience and over calling. Sometimes, like when we killed them two there a few years ago, that was just probably the right amount.
Yeah.
And having a decoy set up there.
Well, it was one of those things, and again, it's a time and place thing. Like, and I think you had this in what we were going to talk about, but it's a temperature thing.
Yeah.
So those two birds are together off in this holler, and we've soft called to them. They've gobbled on the limb, not to our calls, but also maybe a little bit to our calls. I can't remember exactly. But once they got on the ground, every time we yelped, just regular, yep, 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 they're gobbling, right? But they're not making any distance on us. They're in a place that we can't get to them at, and so we've got to. I felt like that I had to do my best to bring them to us. And so as the morning progressed, and they were gobbling, we were calling. We'd let it go for a little while, and then we would call and they would gobble. I felt like, we're going to have to really get excited, like, hey, come up here, and they're going to come on up. And turns out that's exactly what happened. Not that, I don't claim to know what I'm doing necessarily,
right.
But it just worked out that morning that way.
We had a lot of things going for us that morning. We had the terrain. We were above them.
Yeah, we had the high ground, which I liked.
Yeah, I've never had any luck calling turkeys downhill.
No.
I think they said that, and it's in that book, and I keep laughing, and if you see this when you're watching it, I keep laughing about what we're talking about, because I just read. If you go back and you look at this Spring Legion book I've been reading, and you go through chapter 7, it's everything we've just talked about.
Yeah.
Everything. Talking about, if a turkey's gobbling and you can tell he's with a bunch of hens, no offense to anybody, and I don't, you may be the best caller in the world, and you might be able to sound like a real hen. Most of us don't. No. I don't. You don't. I'm sorry, but you're really, I don't want to say wasting your time, but you're pretty much wasting your time. Yeah. If they're henned up with 6 hens, live hens, why would they come to us?
Right.
I mean, and that, a lot of times in that case, if they're henned up, they're still interested in this hen calling to them.
Right.
But they ain't coming to you.
Yep.
I think that's where you got to just stay put. When was it last year they did that study? That Dr. Chamberlain, that they put hunters in a wildlife.
Yeah, it was
I think it was last year.
Yeah, they would sit and call the gobblers that went off with hens.
Yeah, with radio chips, transmitters or whatever on them.
And the hunters would leave.
Yeah.
And that same morning, they would come within 30 or 40 yards of where they were at looking for that thing.
That's
sometimes hours and hours later.
Yeah. That's what that Spring Legion book was talking about. And what I started this whole thing about was they said if a turkey's above you, you have approximately a 1% chance of getting that turkey to come down to you.
That's why I'm always wanting to go up here.
Yeah, if you want to, if you get to the top, you have a lot better chance. But at the same time, they were talking about if you're in that situation, say we're sitting down, we heard them gobble, so we got set up, and we realize, and you can tell. I mean, I feel like I can tell most of the time if they're henned up or if he's just sitting down there strutting. But they said if that happens to you and you can get out of there backwards, like out of the way, go hunt whatever you want to hunt, and if you still ain't killed nothing later in that evening, come back to that spot, because they will return to that location, and they will, and it's proven.
And that's generally what I'll like Zach talking about, sitting there till 10:30 or 11. I've done that and been successful. I've also backed out and went somewhere else and maybe even killed another bird there. But a lot of times, if I don't get on another bird, I'll swing back through there just to see. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how many times that I've been like, okay, I'm 75 yards from where I heard that bird gobble this morning. Let me hit a call one time and see what happens, and he just fire right off.
And that's basically what it said. Just if that's something, and you've been hunting all day, you haven't heard anything else, and you're on your way out, stop by there and just hit a call and see, because he may be coming back at that point. And if you'll notice, if you turkey hunt enough, most of those gobblers hen up sometime around 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then they'll break away from them a little later.
Yeah.
And then he's looking for something else.
Yeah.
So.
Sometimes it's later in the morning. Sometimes they're roosting with them.
Yeah, but I mean,
I've not really found a rhyme and reason. I don't think to that not that I've noticed, anyways.
Yeah. Well, they all have different personalities. They're like deer.
And you was talking about making a hen mad just a minute ago. So I did that one time. Not really on purpose. It just kind of happened. So we were coming out, and we hadn't heard a bird gobble all morning that I remember. But we got back to a high ridge where we started that morning, and there's a big holler off like in front of me. And I'm like, well, I want to call down through here. Dad's off behind me looking for daggone morels. And I say, well, I'm going to, hit off down through here and see what happens. So I just yelped a few times, and man, he hammered.
Yeah.
Not 100 yards down that holler. Well, Dad can't hear himself toot, so here I am trying to get his attention without moving too much. And finally, he sees me up there kind of like waving at him, and he circles around and gets sat down. I got sat down, and we got set up and everything. I called to him again. He gobbled again, and then the hen started, pet, 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 pet. And I'm like, dang, I know she didn't see me, And so he keeps gobbling. He keeps going further, but she's getting closer, and I'm like, this don't make no sense.
Yeah.
So she eventually comes around. She comes by Dad. She comes right in front of me, and I'm calling this whole time. Every time she would make a sound, I would mimic it, just straight, feeding it back to her. She got in front of me, and she was like 25 yards, and I didn't want to alert her, so I let her make noises and get on by me. As soon as she got around the ridge, I called again. Here she come back. Yeah. She was coming to flog whatever hen was calling to her
Yeah.
gobbler, right?
Yeah.
But the other hens in her flock took him away. You know.
That's what happened with last year when Dean was asleep. When I killed that turkey. No, I'm serious. The gobblers were with. We knew they was with hens. We could hear them out there yelping with the gobblers, and but every time they'd start yelping, I'd cut them off, and I just kept cutting them off. And eventually, like I said, the hens got closer, and they came in looking.
Yeah.
I just quit calling. I just watched them. They came in looking. I mean, just very excited motions, come in looking around, walk right in front of Dean. He never did see them, he said. But yeah, and that, that's one way, you're not inevitably calling the hens in to hunt them, but you are at that point breaking them away from a gobbler.
Right. And I've never called a whole flock of hens in like that.
No, 2 or 3 mostly.
Like I said, that's the only time that I can remember even calling a hen off a bird, a gobbler. She just kind of come, protecting her territory, I guess you could say, which is normally gobbler behavior. But
So with that said, as far as we were talking about calling and patterns, and something else that you really got to do this. You got to think about this to make it happen. But when you're sitting there looking at him, and he's at 80 yards, and you need him to come a little closer, you've got to keep your emotions in check while you're calling.
Yeah.
Because you can project your excitement.
Oh yeah.
On accident
right.
through your calling, like I did trying to bugle at that elk in Colorado.
Yeah.
Whenever it
sounded like you were choking on your call.
65 yards down below. Yeah. And
I mean, in all fairness, I would have been doing the same thing. I would have been shaking all over.
Yeah.
I'd have forgot how to work it.
But and I've done that before. Whenever, I'll just give you an example. Up on hunting on a lease a few years ago, over in Glady Fork. Me and Dean were over there, and we had a turkey below us up in one of them fields, just right on the edge of the field, and I needed him to pop his head up. I mean, he was 25 yards strutting.
Yeah.
I could see the top of his, I needed him, he wouldn't pop his head up, and he was getting ready to, these other turkeys are going to bust us.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang it, and I'm sitting there and the heart's beating out of my chest, and I couldn't remember how to yelp. And I was just like, well, he popped his head up, all right, on his way out of there. And,
see, that's what helps.
Dean missed that turkey.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he shot at and missed that turkey when it popped his head off.
Yeah.
No, it popped its head up and he missed it.
Oh, heck.
But anyway, so the turkey popped its head up, not because he thought I was a turkey, but because something startled it.
Right.
And it's easy to do.
I done it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
After I killed that one, I went back a couple days later. I let it rest, and I went back a couple days later. And you don't have to do that, but I did. And I went back in there. I set up. I had one coming to me on a string, and where I was sitting at, I was in the woods a little bit, and there was kind of a flat, and it was like, I don't know, just some random shrubs and stuff out through there. So he comes up, and I could see him, and I felt like his beard was dragging the ground, and my heart went,
yeah.
And I was like, well, I'll just soft up to him. No, I was like,
yeah.
and he was like,
ring the woods over. Yeah. That's a good time for a little pop, pop.
Yeah, but I couldn't do it at that time because I seen that beard, and it was, in my mind, it's 20 inches long.
Right.
Yeah. That's where it pays to
collar shooter.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Which I mean that day I was the collar and I was still tore all the pieces.
Right.
And Dean was the shooter, of course, because he missed. And I'll tell you another thing too, and I know there's a lot of people that I've talked to that are just starting a turkey hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably my biggest advice to them if they're learning how to call and they start calling the turkeys, is don't get hung up on just wanting to hear them gobble.
Yeah.
Because you'll burn the reeds off a mouth call.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean,
that's hard no matter how long you've been turkey hunting.
The first turkey that I ever called in my whole life, I was like 15, I think. And me and Dad had been on the same lease. And I can't remember. either we'd been on a bird that morning, or maybe he killed one because I couldn't get a shot at it, or something along those lines. And we were coming back towards the house, and one just kind of gobbled on its own out going the way we were going. And so we go around. We wasn't really sure exactly where it was, and so we go around there and not really get set up on it, but get where we can hear good, and just yelp one time, and he gobbled again. And we kind of located him, right? And so Dad just taps me on the back. He said, "Go get him." And he stood back in the road. So maybe he did kill one. Maybe that's why he sent me on my own. Maybe he was just trying to teach me a lesson. I'm not for sure. But so I go down and I get in the woods, and it's kind of like in a little draw, and he's just around the ridge there, and I get set up pointed towards him. And I call, and he gobbles, and I call, and he gobbles, and I call, and he gobbles. Next thing I know, that joker pops his head out about from me to that white cabin over there, and I was like, "Oh, goodness gracious!"
Yeah.
You know, and but he knew exactly what tree I was sitting at.
They know, yeah.
And so it taught me a lesson that I won't say that I've never done that anymore, but I am much less likely to do that because I've had that happen that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's still something I have to focus on. Because you talk about, and people that don't turkey hunt or are just getting started, you're never going to know the adrenaline that just drives through your veins when that first turkey just shakes the woods that morning.
Yeah.
And then you get it in a field, and you're like, "Oh, I'm good." And he's just firing off, and you're like, oh, one more.
I'll tell you another big part of that too is knowing where you're sitting.
Mm-hmm.
If that turkey is if you're near an open field and that turkey's coming out in it looking for the hen, and you see that he's made it there, your calling's probably just about done.
Yeah.
Because at some point he's going to realize that you're not there.
Yeah.
And we're trying to play the reversal of the way Mother Nature is supposed to work.
Right.
Whereas if most of the old coal strip lands around here are pretty thick, dense woods,
right,
you can get by with a little bit more. Real open, like National Forest, is really hard to kill a turkey on because it's so open.
Yep.
And Dean is totally, you can't get him on National Forest anymore, unless it's near an old clear cut or something.
Right.
It's just so open. They can see.
Yeah. They
can see that, there's not a hen 200 yards up the ridge.
Right.
I know there's not one up there, so I'm not going.
Yep.
It's super hard, but like where we've got thick brush, I will tell you over there, just near the gap where I killed that 6-pointer, I thought was an 8-pointer.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good place there.
The whole area is kind of thick.
It's kind of thick. The turkeys probably stay in there.
There's open areas of it, but you can find thick spots to kind of target.
Yeah. Now, it is shocking that Dean doesn't want to hunt a place like that since he does shoot turkeys with a 223.
Yeah. Seems like it would behoove him to.
But I will say, even if you are in those open woods, if you have the ability to set a decoy up, you can get by with a little more than you can without it.
A little more.
I mean, still don't go crazy thinking, because he's going to realize, oh, that sound's not coming from right there.
Yeah. Well, I see your point to that. We did try this, but if you're going to do that, you're going to have to know they're already in there. If you try to move and sneak a decoy up,
because you got to set up quick.
Yeah.
They'll bust you.
I mean, I've done it both ways, and there's a time and a place for decoys.
Oh yeah.
Got busted setting many of them in the road, man.
Me too.
I mean, I've got busted setting a few, but
I got busted last year. If you watch our videos from last year, me and Billy, we had a turkey coming, and he shut up. Mm-hmm. He was a mature gobbler, and that's obvious because he came in silent. But we got to where we were going to set up, and Billy was like, "Throw this decoy down there," and I was like, "Let's just set up." And he's like, "No, put this decoy down there." I was like, "All right." So I sneaked down there, and I'm real easy, and I'm like, because it was kind of an old road bench, and then it went back downhill. So I got to that road bench, and I thought, well, I can kind of lay down and scoot up here. So I laid down, I scooted up there, and I stuck the decoy in. About that time, I heard it, psh, and I turned, and he was over here to my left. He was about 40 yards to my left coming up that road. And I just turned around to Billy and I said, buddy, we lost that one.
He's gone.
Yeah, that's sneak up on you.
Me and Dad called four mature toms, probably 1,000 yards across the field one time. The only time I've ever seen it happen, and it happened back-to-back mornings, probably 5 or 6 years ago. But
did you kill them?
Yeah, I killed one both mornings.
Cabbage let you be a trigger man both days?
Yeah, well, the first day, they came to my side. Like, they were coming straight ahead, and we thought we were going to get the double. And they got down this little holler below us and went straight right-handed. And there was a pond down there, and we thought they were probably going to go to water and then come back and circle back to the hen. Well, for whatever reason, they come, and they went right, got in the timber, and they kind of circled around to the side of us. Which, once they got down in there, he said, you know, swing around right-handed. That way, if they do come back up through them woods instead of coming right through his field, you know, you'll be on them. And sure enough, that's right where they popped their heads up.
Yeah.
But the second morning, it was just one. He came from the exact same ridge where they were roosted the night before, and he ran plumb to the decoy.
Yeah.
I mean, straight down the field, across the holler, right up to us.
What kind of decoy was it?
I don't know.
Just a hen.
Oh, it was a hen. Yeah, it was just a plain hen decoy. It wasn't.
Must not be a lot of turkeys in there.
Not feeding. I mean, there was. I think the gobbler to hen numbers was pretty in our favor.
Yeah.
I just I think a lot of times that I've used a decoy and watched a bird come into them. I'm not a huge decoy guy. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll throw that funky chicken out there and
Yeah.
let him work.
Right.
Most of the time, I don't. I would prefer to set up, and I would prefer that kind of thick, wooded area, so I can kind of hide.
Right.
And then he's still trying to find it. But my thing is, I've noticed a lot of times, you know, if you set a decoy up, what's the first thing? Where do you point your gun when you set up? Right near that decoy. Most everybody does.
Not me.
You don't?
I point
Okay.
down over the hill.
A lot of people will point towards that decoy. If you watch a bird come into that decoy, 99.9% of the time, he's not coming straight in here.
No.
He's going to come in, he's going to circle around, he's going to try to figure that out.
Well,
before
I don't
he
want
comes
him. The reason I don't set a decoy between me and him is because I don't want him looking at me. So I'll set my decoy up maybe like, if I'm setting one and I'm at this tree, I'm going to set it probably 30 degrees to my left, right? And that way, because most time a bird's going to circle right, in my experience. And so I'll set it 30 degrees left, approximately. I mean, you know, just kind of at about, what would that be, 11 o'clock? 10:30, 11 o'clock. And, yeah, I mean.
I got you.
Yeah. And so, when he comes, even if he comes on a straight line, or if he comes to a straight line to the decoy, I've still got shots all around, and I don't have to worry about shooting my decoy. And he's not looking right at me; he's looking at that decoy.
Oh, I mean, I agree with it. That's what I was getting at. I'm just saying, a lot of new people in the turkey hunting think, "Oh, I'm gonna set this decoy up. And I'm gonna
sit
hunt
right
that
behind
decoy.
it. Yeah,
I'm gonna hunt this decoy."
Yep.
Well, then you're sitting here waiting on this bird, and here he pops out to the right, and you're like,
"Oh crap!
Yeah,
what am I gonna do?"
I killed 2 gobblers back-to-back days a few years ago up at Jack's off the same ridge, and I had that blow-up gobbler decoy sitting 5 yards to my right, and I was sitting off the side of the road, and I put that thing right in the road. And when they came around the road, they were looking right at it, and I was just down there the hill. Killed the first one. The next day went back, put it at the same spot, called the other one in, and killed him the same way. It don't always happen like that.
No, not even close.
But that's a good point. If you are going to put them out there, the worst thing you can do is
Hunt it.
Be in a straight line between the turkey and the decoy.
Right.
Because, I mean, that thing's looking at the decoy and you're right behind it.
Right. Any movement he's going to see. And not that you can get away with movement. I mean, you really can't get away with movement if you can see the turkey, or if you can hear him spitting and drumming, you better be still. Because
I'll tell you a story. This is an old story about movement. And I give him a hard time just about every time I talk to him. I always tell him if he'd come back down, I'd teach him how to turkey hunt once. But my buddy Sproles was up. It was back before the lease I'm on now was a lease. And we were back there turkey hunting. We were in high school. And he had wanted to go and kill turkey in the spring, so we went back there and I got him on a gobbler. and I had him just in this little draw. His main bench runs across the top, and there's this little spur that runs off down toward a big flat, and them turkeys were in the flat. And I just put him right where that spur started down, and I was up behind him about 25, 30 yards calling.
Yeah.
And I could see all the way across that flat. He couldn't. And I sat there and watched this turkey strut back and forth, and he couldn't see because there's some, look, it's like scrub ivy stuff in there.
Yeah.
I watched that turkey. I could hear him spitting and drumming. He was strutting, and he finally started coming in, and he got to about 50, 60 yards, and I caught out of the corner of my eye Sproles do this, pulled his mask down, turned his head, and spit. And I looked up, and that turkey never made a sound. It's almost like I had an encounter with an elk a few years ago. Done this. It's almost like he stopped dead in his tracks, turned on a dime, and walked straight out the way he came.
Yeah.
Just a little quicker. Then he didn't fly or run.
Right.
But I went down there and said, "He busted you, buddy." He said, "How'd he bust me?" I said, "Because you're dipping." He seen you spit. He said, "He didn't see me spit." I said, "Son, I watched it happen."
Yeah.
You know, I seen it with my own eyes. He saw you spit. He left.
Yeah.
I said, "You can't do it, man. Them things busted." So,
they're sharp, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable, really, how well a turkey can see.
It's impressive. But that's what makes them so fun to hunt. And it's another challenge, videoing them. We thought we had it licked, son. We videoed that first time we ever took a camera in the woods. We doubled up.
Yeah, we thought we were pros
we
or
had
something.
decoy that morning.
Yeah.
Talk about decoy setup.
That helped.
Perfect.
And he was about, 2 o'clock to our right.
2 o'clock to our right.
But that was just a terrain deal. That was
turkeys were down under the hill.
Yeah.
And when they come up, they weren't going to come right. When they come up and seen it, we would have been 20 yards, 25 yards to that thing's right. So they were focused up the hill, and they went straight to it.
Yeah.
And old Funky Chicken would have been eat up if we hadn't have took care of some business real quick.
Yeah, he would have.
What did old Kyle say? Take its head off for it real quick.
Yeah,
that's what we had to do. I like that. Hopefully that's what's going on here in a couple.
I sure hope so.
I hope it's better than it was last year. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, man, we heard them gobble.
I don't know if it could be worse.
Well, it could be. At least we heard a few.
Well, I've heard so many more people talking about seeing birds this year, so I think we're already doing better.
I got a bunch of time off at first, a little bit. Then I'll be back on night shift, so I'll be able to hunt every morning again.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty excited about that. Hopefully I'll get to go with Dino Bravo some.
Oh yeah.
He tried to call me earlier. I had to call him back.
You have to pull him away from work to go.
It's true. I have to lure him out with a Hardee's biscuit or something. So as far as gear, we got anything new? I know you said you were going to get rid of that Nightingale vest.
Thinking about it.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like instead of having like a pouch on my back, I prefer to have like a bag. You know what I'm saying? And that, you remember that bag the day that me and you went up on the National Forest on your canoe?
Mm-hmm.
You remember the bag that I had that day? That was my turkey vest that I've had for years and years, but the wings clip off.
Oh. Okay.
And so I just took it because I wanted something small and something I could just put some waters in and maybe my bladder. I think I had a bladder in it that day, but I think going forward that I'm probably just going to keep using it. And the only thing I don't like about it that I wish it had, and I think I can probably alter it to include this, is a seat pad. To where, like, if I've got to get down quick, I can just flip that thing down. Or if I've got time, I prefer to carry my metal seat, my leg little seat thing. But if there's been times on wet mornings that I haven't had time, and then I'm walking out of the woods with a wet tail, and I don't like it. I'm a little basic, as I've said before. So, if I can keep my hind end from being wet, I'm gonna do that. But anyhow, that's part of the reason I went with that Nightingale last year.
I love mine, and it's. I mean, for me,
yours is a little bit bigger than mine too. So yours is the 300, I think.
Yeah, I think.
And they don't make it anymore. And that's what I was going to buy, but I can't find one.
Yeah. Now I love it. It's got enough room in there for me. I always, in my back part, I always put my water bladder, and then I'll throw in my IFAC.
Yeah.
For any kind of injuries or something may happen.
Yeah.
And then, like my knife and everything I need for that. If I was to need it, but and then if I want to throw some snacks in there or whatever. See, I don't like the bulkiness of a big pouch on my back.
Yeah.
So that's why I went with that slim design. It does have a seat. I don't even carry it.
Right.
So I detach it. I carry that little fold-out chair 90% of the time. That small one that they have. But sometimes I don't even carry that. I'll just sit on the ground. I don't care if I get my tail wet.
most of the time in the timber, it ain't that big an issue. But there's mornings,
But now I enjoy it. That's probably the best turkey vest I've ever had.
Is that the one Tyler got?
Yeah, he got the same one I got. The two. See, they don't make the 300 anymore. It had a little bit bigger bag on the back, and
the pot calls zip up on mine. They zip close. It just slides in up.
And the vest part is made just a little different. Which mine, my older one, I forget what it is. It's a turkey tuxedo, and it's made by Blacks Creek. It's not made anymore either. But the back pouch part of it is not that wide. It's like the width of my back, right? And then it's got straps that come around that hook the wing parts to it. And so it's not that bulky and like stuff like that, but it's got enough room in it for me, and it's got plenty enough room for whatever I might want to carry. I've even, like, the pot calls go in one side.
How many yellows can you fit in that thing?
Well, I could fit about 4 cases.
A melio?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I could pack that sucker down. But no, I generally carry just like 2.
Yeah. I've noticed you're about a 2 melio limit on turkey hunting.
Yeah, generally. And it just depends on how heavy the action is. Sometimes I might not even get through one.
That's right.
But,
And I think that's more of the reason. Like, now last year was a different year for me.
Yeah.
Because it was so cold.
And that's another thing too.
I was using more clothes than normal.
Right.
But most of the time, it's plenty enough for me, because I usually don't take a whole lot turkey hunting.
Yeah.
So I'll take water, take a couple snacks, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I'll keep my IFAC in there in case something was to happen. But outside of those, man, I don't carry much.
Yeah.
And everything else goes in the front. I always carry my 2 pot calls, 2 strikers. One of them's I think it's like cottonwood or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the wet, you can use it and all that.
Oh, the cottonmouth, I think.
Okay, something, I can't remember the name of it, but
it's a snake name, whatever.
I carry that, and then I have like a little lanyard that I keep my calls in, my mouth calls.
Yeah.
And a couple extra shells, but I don't carry a whole lot when I go. So.
Yep.
Yeah, that's me. I don't carry too awful much. The only reason I wore that Nomad one last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a lighter weight job, but it's all right. But I really like it. I like the full blown vest just because I can throw my decoy in a bag. I carry a sack with me.
And that's another thing too. Like with that turkey tuxedo, I can throw a decoy in the back of it, or like a hoodie, right? So there was plenty of mornings last year where it was like cold enough in the morning that you kind of needed a hoodie, and then later on in the morning it would get warm enough to where you just needed like something light, like a shirt or a pullover type thing. But I couldn't in that Run and Gun 200. I couldn't even like stuff a sweatshirt down in the little back pocket of that joker.
I could fit a jacket in that Nomad when it's got a pouch for it.
Yeah.
And I don't like a bulky. That one, it's NWTF. It's a Grand Slam, I think is what it's called. The Grand Super Slam or something vest. It fits pretty tight, and it doesn't have a lot of. It's got a little bit of storage on your front pockets, and it's got a pocket right here. But hey, no joke. These little jokers right here, Pro tip: I used to have a green one I carried my mouth calls in.
Yeah.
You put them in that thing right there and sit it down in your pocket.
Have you seen those little Primos things I've got?
They're little pouches.
Yeah. Them things are convenient as they can be.
I used to have a green one. My mama used to carry pocket change in these all the time, and I would always snag them off of her. But turkey calls in. Tell you something I will have is these this 003 reed turkey ghost from
001.
001.
Yeah, I'll have about a handful of them.
That joker right there is spitting.
Yeah.
Talking good stuff right now. I've about wore the girls and the wife out.
I ain't got to play with mine near as much as I wanted to, but I will.
Rachel was cooking dinner the other night, and I was in there in the living room, and I was calling to Reagan, and she was laughing, and I was calling, she was laughing, and Rachel coming in there pointing a knife at me, saying, "If you don't hush," and I said, "So I hushed."
I've took mine to pick the kids up off the bus, take them get dinner, go with wife get dinner, take her places, went doctor's appointment. I always Kingsport every day. I just cutting loose with it.
That's my prime time calling time. That's when I'm in the truck back and forth.
I started to call with mine the other day, and I did a little bit, and then Eli was sitting there, and Desiree was sitting there, and Desiree said, she looked at Eli and she said, "Say, hush, Dada," and Eli went, "Hush, Dada." And I was like, all right, I better cut it out.
I'll probably run that. I probably will just use that one Nomad one again this year a little bit. See how it goes, because hopefully if I'm going with Dean in it, he carries a big old gym bag full of decoys.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, that joker's got
and aluminum cans.
Aluminum can. There's not a piece of litter that isn't picked up by that man.
He sounds like those old guys you see on the old westerns and stuff that had like the bass drum on their back and their every time their foot tapped or whatever, it had like the cymbals. That's what Dean sounds like coming through the woods. So like by the end of the day, especially if we're on a good piece of national forest that ain't been walked on much.
Their spurs were jingling.
Yeah.
Mr.
Jingles or something.
I tell you something, man, about that big dude. It blows my mind how so many days that we've been hunting and I've give up and was ready to go to the truck and he's just like, "Hold on a minute. You just sit right back down there for just a second." And that dude has one call, a slate call. He uses slate call. He uses box call a little bit, but he'll just get there and purr and cluck on that slate call just a little bit, man. I don't know what happened. It never fails. You know, of course, usually when he does that, he shoots it. He deems himself caller and shooter sometimes. That one he shot up there at Jack's a few years ago, I worked so hard to call it in. I didn't think it was ever going to leave him hens.
Yeah.
And finally, I just quit calling. I whispered to him, I said, "That thing ain't going to come up here." Just stopped calling altogether, and he'd just sit there on that slate call, and he'd cluck and purr just a little bit for 5 minutes or so. Finally, that thing walked up there quiet and popped its head up. He busted it. But he's pretty. I guess he's. I'd hate to know the number of turkeys he's killed.
I was fixing to say he's called a lot in.
Yeah, I know there were about 5 or 6 seasons in a row that me and him hunted together that I tagged out and killed my limit in the spring, and he was pretty close. But before me hunting with him, I mean, they used to wear them out, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they used to absolutely wear the turkeys out. He's pretty good, even though he shoots them with a rifle sometimes. I don't know. I guess we can't really give him too much. Cody's over here shooting with a shotgun.
Whatever.
Rolling them.
Hey,
you will be too when you get that 410 rolling.
Dead is dead, I guess. But only other thing I probably want to upgrade this year is my snips. I've got a pair of snippers and they're not locking closed, so I'm probably gonna get a new pair of them fisters or something like that to carry around.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing worse than sitting down in the briar patch.
I guarantee you this: if Dean don't have anything else in his bag or in his pockets, he will have a pair of snips.
Yeah, he does. I learned that from him.
Yeah, he never goes in the woods without them, and that's a good pro tip.
Yeah.
I forget what we numbered it now, but it's a heck of a good pro tip.
17,000.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Hey, he taught me to carry snippers with you in the spring and carry a fold-up saw with you in the fall.
Yeah.
Because you never know. That saved me more than... Dean is the only turkey hunter I know that doesn't own a turkey vest. He carries a fanny pack that is plumb loaded to the gills. I believe he's got a grease gun in there just in case things get real bad.
He probably does.
But hopefully he gets to go some. And before we get off here, we're going to talk about, just because turkey hunting's not hard enough, we're just going to add something extra to it. Camera setups. So I'm probably going to be designated cameraman for a while because I really want to get Tyler a turkey.
Oh yeah, we're going to.
And in Hadley, and I killed one last year, so I'm not too big of a hurry to get one off the bat. Now that's not saying if y'all was working, I'm probably going.
Oh yeah.
Video
now
myself,
opening weekend, we're gonna be killing something.
I can't hunt Sunday.
Can't hunt Sunday.
No, Sunday's Easter. Hope everybody's getting to church that morning. And it'd be a busy day for us that day. So I might, if I do get to go, it'd be like for an hour somewhere. I mean, it could happen in an hour.
Yeah, it could.
I've been known to hunt really close to the church.
A time or two.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I might be able to do it, but I don't know. We'll see. Camera setups. I've got y'all got those Sonys. And I was using that DSLR.
What is that, a CX405, is that right?
It's a handy cam something.
Yeah, I think it's CX405. It does I like mine pretty good, don't you?
It's not bad. I like it.
It's lightweight.
The only thing I wish, and I think this is the only thing that's going to make me look into another camcorder, is you can't hook up an external microphone.
Yeah.
And I do want an external microphone based off the fact that I want one on me. That way, when I'm whispering or whatever, I've noticed that it's pretty low on that camera. I would like to have an external, and just like if me and you are hunting, and I've got a camera, I can have a mic, you can have a mic, and we can both talk on it, and it not sound like you're 4 miles away from the camera.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my only issue.
I don't
with
talk
it.
as much into it. Definitely not near as much as Dad does. But I've noticed, like, if I point it towards me and talk, like in the tree stand or something like that, that it generally picks it up pretty good.
My thing,
but like if it's pointed away, it's not as good.
For turkey hunting, especially, is what I really want something with an external mic. Because if I'm recording here and you're shooting, you shoot it. Most of us, we don't sit there for 4 days after we shoot a turkey. You're going to get up and go get that thing. So if you're going to get it, I can't hear nothing you're saying, the excitement that you're getting or nothing.
Right.
So I would prefer to have that external mic so we can hear. Plus, with 2 mics running, those gobbles, man, they're coming in a lot more clear.
Yeah. I am anxious to see how well it picks up a gobble this spring. I want to see how it sounds once we put it back in the computer and see.
If you can get one that will take Bluetooth, you can put a Bluetooth mic on each of you.
Yeah. I've been looking at those Rode microphones.
Yeah, those are good ones. Those are pretty good ones. And then I use my GoPro more than anything. Yeah. GoPro cell phone wonders.
Yeah, my cell phone, until I busted the camera lens out of it, did really good.
Cell phone's amazing how good. I mean, and you can go in there and mess with the settings. I mean, the settings that are on there right now are not really the best for YouTube. I mean, you just go in there and change them to the 1080p.
Yeah. And
works a whole lot better. But that's what I'll be doing. Probably do that Panasonic Lumix DSLR covered up with some camo netting. Might get me some camo tape to put on it this year.
I may bring out the Nikon this year for turkey season. Throw in on there. But, you know, my favorite thing that I use is the way my GoPro attaches to my shotgun. Yeah. So I've got that plate. I've got that plate on the side of the stock, and then the elbow, the arm that comes out, and then it kind of sits like right in here, and it's got the external mic on it. I mean, it works out perfect for anything in front of you. Yeah. You know, but the only issue that I have with that, if you run just that, is if I need to talk or I want to get you, whatever, I mean, I can't turn my shotgun towards you. Right. So I have to turn the camera.
Right.
That's my only issue, and you could tell in that video when I watched it the other day. I rewatched it with me and Billy. There was a lot of times if I would have had another camera, another angle, I would have really been able to see a lot more.
Right.
But when I turned to shoot that Jake that I shot, my camera was behind Billy's shoulder. So I was we were almost side by side, but where I was, that arms came back and it was pretty much right on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So it kind of blocked a lot of that. That's really my only issue with that. But I think last year I ran my phone on a tripod and my GoPro on my.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, that phone on the tripod works pretty good. You gotta have a good solid mount, which, you know, those work pretty good. I got one almost just like that one.
That's what we're recording with. It works good.
Yeah, it does pretty good.
You can put an external mic on it too.
Yeah.
Like that's got it right now.
Yeah.
It works pretty good. I mean, if you look at for like real high image quality stuff, like cinema quality stuff, you need something else. But I mean, it does pretty good.
I mean, we're talking about YouTube here.
For what we're doing,
if someone wants to donate a camera, we'll definitely use it.
Oh yeah.
But
Will's dad has got it.
He does. That's a nice camera.
Work issued, seriously nice camera.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's what I would love to do this year is get Tyler's bird on camera.
Yeah, it'll happen.
On a good video.
I think I've got one lined out for him. I think I can get him on it.
If you don't go Sunday, I might see if he wants.
I hope he hits it.
He probably would go with you. Do what?
Make him shoot like 3 or 4 times, or 5, 4 season.
He shot a bunch last year before season.
Yeah.
We shot up Jack's for a while.
Keep
him
shooting.
I think I could probably get him on one there at my honey hole, but
we gotta get him something.
Oh yeah.
I seen one other day. I think I can get to. I think I know I can get to it.
Yeah.
I'm talking about it's bordering public and private. Pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking. Might just have to sound a whole lot sweeter.
Yeah.
Of course, a bird like that, it may be a late season bird. You gotta sneak in there when the leaves are on the trees.
Yeah.
And go from there. But that's about all we got, fellers.
Yeah, we've covered a lot. I think probably over the next month.
Yeah.
We'll kind of break some of this stuff down. Talk a little more about gear setups and calling sequences and.
I'd like to get some.
I could talk about calling all day.
I'd like to get some good gear dump videos, maybe.
Yeah, we'll do. Which we are going to need to start. I think we've got several different video projects we're getting ready to start this month.
Yeah.
And gear, turkey vest videos would be good, just so everybody get an idea of what we carry. Each one of us is very different, I'm sure. And we'll do some storytelling a little bit. And like Will said, we could break down turkey calling into. We could talk about that for an hour. We could talk about decoy setup for an hour. We can talk about camo pattern for an hour.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff we can talk about. So, a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. If you're listening, we still got the giveaway going on Instagram. Just like 30 followers, and we're gonna be giving away a hoodie. So.
About your friends.
Yeah.
Might win a brand new hoodie.
I know it's getting close to season. I know I continue to bring this up, but if you're interested in one of the internships with us, just holler at us. I've got a waiver that I'll get to you, whether I have to scan it to you or whatnot, but we'll get it to you, and then we'll talk about it and see who all we get. So if you're interested in it, hit us up on any of our socials or email, whatever. If you know us personally, text us, call us, get us a person, whatever.
Cody's got us one.
If nothing else, you'll have a good time.
And that's kind of what I've tried to tell some of the people that I've talked to is like, look, if you're new into turkey hunting, we're not, the best ever in the world, but you'll learn some, and if you don't
good at it,
if you don't learn, you'll at least have a good time.
Yeah.
So
I might give you a pack of naps or something too.
We'll provide you with melio.
That's
true.
true.
There you go.
So that going on, and
last thing.
Go ahead.
Right. get down to Aaron's.
Yeah,
and get signed up for his turkey hunting contest.
Pick you up some, if he's got any, pick you up some long-beard
XR
shells
down
there.
And some Comer's calls.
Yeah, Comer's calls are down there.
Because I'm telling you, them jokers.
Yeah.
I won't say I was surprised, because I know Derek, and I've known him for a while, and he's serious about it. Very serious about it, and he's a good guy. And so those calls are super high quality. I was very pleased to find that they're some of the best I've ran. I mean, and that's coming from a lifelong Cane Creek user. And that's not a shot at Cane Creek, because he makes really good calls too. But I'm really growing more partial by the day to Derek's calls.
Which one?
I'm a big fan of the 001. A big fan. Is that the combo cut? Is that 004? I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I've not fooled with that as much. But
it's a daggone good one too. It's got a lot of rasp, and you can get pretty soft with it. And you can kiki a little bit with it.
Get to working them calls, guys, if you're out there, because that latex is going to sound different than it does right now than it does in April.
Yeah, you got to get them broke in.
Just like a good pair of Mendels, ain't it, Will?
That's right. I'm still working on breaking them jokers in. Good gravy. Them some well-made boots, I will say. They are well-made.
We'll get them to take care of.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. We'll knock out of here and talk to you next time.